Yo, face. Show your face, please. With sugar on top.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're able to be a little more explicit, a little more uncensored, and share content freely without running the risk of having our channel terminated. So, once again, make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. Now let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, once again, shout out to FBG North. As I told y'all before, that he's one of the court goers when it comes to attending the FBG Duck trial. And he gets firsthand information straight out of them courts and then presents it to us on YouTube. Now, I've been noticing that it seems like Chicago Sun-Times and some of these other articles strategically put out certain articles when it pertains to certain things, opposed to just putting everything out there when they're supposed to. I say that because when Butter was on the stand, we didn't hear or see much from other media outlets as we did when Trench's News was on the stand. I don't know if maybe it's purposely done that way to avoid certain things from getting out on a larger scale, because we do have to remember that this is a federal case and they also have to take certain precautions in protecting the people involved in this case. So I don't know if maybe that's the reason, or they're just choosing not to let some of these things out for their own reasons or whatever that may be. However, yesterday FBG North has updated us on a court proceeding that happened Thursday, and things get a little interesting. FBG North has told us what went down in that courtroom based upon his observation. According to North, the first responding officer that reported to the crime scene as Duck was on the ground took the stand and testified regarding recollection of what went down when he got there. Now, if y'all remember when we first started covering this case before it went federal, I pointed out a long time that Duck was on that ground for way too long. For someone that was shot, to me personally, the officers didn't seem to be moving in an urgent manner to attend to someone that was just shot multiple times. Now, I don't know if that falls on the first responding officer or the EMS that's supposed to report, I don't know. But I could say that authorities definitely dropped the ball when it came to that whole situation. And even when EMS got on the scene, it still took them a long time to get Duck out of there prior to the time he was already on the floor. It seemed as if law enforcement was more concerned with telling people and bystanders to back up rather than getting this man who has been shot multiple times some damn help. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Mama Duck that informed us during the interview that Duck asked the EMS or police officer, quote, "So y'all just gonna let me die?" And I can't lie, man, as a parent myself, having to hear that your child's last words are, "Y'all gonna let me die?" it's cringing. But when you see the video, you can't help but to understand why he asked him that, because they were really dragging their feet as if this man wasn't bleeding out. But anyway, FBG North will go on to let us know that the first responding officer took the stand and had some interesting words to say about what he witnessed the fatal day of August 4th, 2020. FBG North would say that the officer would testify that at 4:19 p.m. he saw 2 to 3 shooters with masks on and heard 10 to 20 shots fired. He also stated that he saw them jumping into cars, making it more than one car involved after shots was fired, claiming one car drove past him, identified as Kenny Mac's vehicle, with the firearm hanging out of the window. Crazy. Now, an attorney asked him if he was 50 feet away from the crime scene, and the officer replied that he was 100 feet away, and that was pretty much it in regards to his statements. Now, this is the thing. If he was there and witnessed all of this happening, how or why is it that the suspects weren't caught? How or why was a cop able to witness the suspects fleeing and these guys were able to still make it all the way back to OBlock with 0 police contact? I think the only contact they got was when they was going into OBlock, but that had nothing to do with the situation. But how or why is it Duck was on the floor that long if the police officer been heard shots ringing out and seen suspects fleeing with a firearm hanging outside of the window? Like, it's not making sense. And y'all know I always tell y'all, where there's smoke, there's fire. We know how trigger happy these cops can often be these days. So you mean to tell me he didn't even try to return fire after hearing shots and seeing the suspects? No chase, no nothing. And on top of that, failed to assist Duck by seeking medical attention for someone who was just shot that he was 100 feet away from? Something ain't adding up, y'all. In fact, why wasn't he penalized in no way, shape, or form? Because he failed his duty as an officer. No, he heard shots, seen suspects, failed to call it in, failed to call for medical help in a sufficient time. That sounds like failure to me. Now, FBG North said the next court date, they'll have EMS who responded to the scene, testifying and explaining what took them so long. Keep in mind, if y'all remember, they said there was a hospital right up the block from where Duck was, and for some odd reason, they decided to bypass that one and go to another one. I forgot the reason why they say they bypassed it, but I hope that topic comes up as well. But the fact that they had to testify on what took them so long shows that they are acknowledging that they did take long, so I'm glad that's being taken into consideration as well. Because clearly, Duck was failed by not only Chicago PD, but Chicago's EMS as well. Both organizations failed him that day. He was killed, and had they responded in a timely manner, he'll possibly still be with us today. Right? All them shots he endured, and he was still moving. He was still coherent. He was still breathing. You know, which is crazy. And I hope they look further into this, because just think about all the other guys they've done this to. Right? I'm sure Duck ain't the first or the last person they'll fail. But hopefully they'll put a microscope on it and they figure something out, because this is crazy. A place that's well known for shootings, plus a slow medical responsive team and law enforcement, equals disaster. So it's no wonder why bodies are dropping at an alarming rate, because no one cares to help, right? And maybe it's not that they don't care to help, it's just that they're not moving with enough speed, you know, enough urgency. And I guess it may be due to how frequent all the shootings have became, but that don't mean people deserve to lose their lives neither. And on another note, what I will say to this is, we know that it's a lot of corruption over there in Chicago within the politics and police departments, because we've seen countless of situations in the past. If you know history, you know. Lori Lightfoot, who was the mayor at the time, in her background isn't too credible. And she's been seen taking pictures with you know who. Right? So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Not to mention, do y'all remember her comments after everything went down with Duck? Like the type of comments that she put out there, man, no mayor, no anybody that's in a position as hers should have said what she said. At that point, we already knew what was going on. She displayed her distaste for the situation and who was involved. So I'm gonna leave that there, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Now also, the guy that was on a bike, if y'all remember that guy that was on a bike, where is he?
Shooting in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro. Chicago is not a safe place to be. You cannot even go downtown and enjoy your day without violence, bro. Look at this, bro. Look at this, bro. That's a Chicago rapper, man, by the name of FBG Duck, shot.
Right? He's the key person that was present on the scene with a weird story, video recording, acting hysterical, and we haven't heard or seen him nowhere since. He should be the first one on that stand if you ask me, but for some strange reason, we haven't heard a word about him, and I wonder if he'll be included anywhere in this trial. Out of everybody, his video was the first video we got to witness Duck laying on the floor and everything before police arrived. He stated that he was originally from California, he was just visiting, something like that, and that he shared a room or apartment with Duck, something weird. You know, I don't know, but I think he's definitely a person of interest in all of this. We haven't seen an interview, which is crazy. He wasn't interviewed, he wasn't in none of the tabloids, media, nothing, and he was one of the first people there. Why we haven't heard from him? Now on the flip side, FBG North mentioned that a jeweler representing the jewelry store Icebox in Atlanta would take the stand and testify about his relationship with King Von and speak on the purchase of the infamous OBlock chains Von bought. These are the chains that prosecutors believe were bought and given to OBlock members as a reward for crime, with FBG Duck's death being one of them. It was stated that 16 chains were bought total and $120,000 was spent overall. The jeweler would be asked about purchasing dates, where the jeweler would state that on 8/14/2020, Vaughn bought 2 OBlock chains, On 8/28/2020, he bought 1 OBlock chain. On 9/17/2020, he bought 1 OBlock chain. And on 9/28/2020, Vaughn bought 2 more OBlock chains and bought more after. But totaling was 16 chains worth $120,000. Now notice how all of these dates are after Duck lost his life on 8/4/2020. These are all important dates because this is what will factor into the prosecutor's claims of Vaughn buying chains to allegedly award guys, according to the prosecutor. I'm not no lawyer, but the first thing I will point out is if 16 chains was bought, how would they be considered trophies or rewards when only 6 people were involved in the crime? And saying something like that will show that maybe Vaughn just so happened to buy chains for the guys like every other rapper or guy does when he come from the hood and he wants to give back. But in a nutshell, for the people that's confused as to why the jeweler would be on the stand, it's pretty much for the feds to paint the picture of the chains being what you would call rewards for the alleged attack on Duck. So they're painting the narrative that for the individuals who received the chains, the OBlock chains, they were actually rewarded for having a hand in Duck's demise, allegedly, which is why they received the chains in the first place, and they have the dates to prove that the chains were purchased after the situation. Once again, to further prove that they were given as, rewards. And keep in mind that everything spoken here is alleged and just from my observation, Now, FBG North will go on to say that Bezu's name was also mentioned about Vaughn putting a deposit on the THF chain, and Bezu would clear the rest. These are claims that came from THF Teezy, stated by his lawyer. Now, it's getting spooky, man. A lot of names and people are being thrown in the mix and thrown under the bus. I don't know what they'll do with that information of THF Bezu buying the THF chain, but his name was mentioned. And once again, Mama Duck told y'all before that they would all go to jail because everyone is telling on everyone, which is crazy, but that's how the streets usually end, right? Someone who you thought was solid, someone you thought you could trust, ends up folding on you, and next thing you know, you're sitting in the cell for the next 15 to 20 years. So y'all be careful with who y'all trust out there. For the kids coming up, y'all glorifying the streets, glorifying drill, this is the end result. 9 times out of 10, either this or a gravesite. So I hope, the guys, the kids that's looking up, and also adults. You got some adults that's out there with kid minds or mindsets that's still out in the streets thinking that it's a future in it. We gotta grow up at some point, man. Now, as for the trial, shout out to FBG North for updating us on everything going on in court. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to him over on his platform and show love. I can't wait to see how things play out on Monday when they have to explain why they took so long to get to the crime scene. I'm sure other police officers will testify that was on the scene too. I don't know. But this should be definitely interesting because I want to know what took them so long with everything overall. Alright, now as for now, y'all let me know what y'all think about everything in the comments, man. What y'all think about, the police officer testifying that he's seen the members going away. What y'all think? I personally feel he should have called it in. Like, if he did, he didn't call it in fast enough. And if he did, what took them so long? What took the police so long? What took EMS so long? So it's gonna get real interesting. I'm just here for it. I want to hear what they gotta say. And that's pretty much it, man. As more updates come through, I'll update y'all. As for now, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.